Hello, and thank you for joining our session today. We are about to show you how you can transform the way you deliver client advice with Snap Projections. I am going to move through these first few slides fairly quickly so we can spend as much time in software as possible. My name is Alex Mercer, and I am joined by my colleague Steve Arnott, who will walk you through Snap in just a moment. We are very excited to be here with you folks today to discuss the latest and greatest Canadian advisor tech. Many of you here today already know us, but for those of you who do not, Snap Projections provides transparent, easy to use, and highly flexible financial planning software for Canadian advisors. We have been in market for 10 years, enthusiastically serving the thousands of financial advisors, planners, and investment managers who partner with Snap to grow their client base and increase quality referrals. This product continues to be developed with advisors for advisors. Advisor input and involvement is how we continue to bring what you need to market. If you want to hear from other advisors who are already using Snap, you can find reviews numerous places online. For example, on Capterra, which is an independent third-party software review site, you will find advisors saying things like none of their clients retire without a Snap projection and that the software has become foundational to their firm. As you can see, we are currently sitting at 4.9 out of 5 stars. So let's get to it and talk about the current problems with advice delivery. The reports generated by financial planning software are too long. Even though Snap's comprehensive reports are client friendly and easy to understand, the reality is that for many clients, even a 5-page report is still too long. When clients can't see the information they care about the most on a single page, the message often gets lost. So, the first problem here is that the client isn't getting what they need from the current reporting experience. And this is happening across the board, regardless of which planning software you are currently using. The second problem is that as a solution, many advisors are spending hours upon hours building customized reports in house to provide their clients with the type of report they want. Many of you have told us you've had no choice but to resort to using Canva, PowerPoint, Google Slides, Google Sheets, or Microsoft Word to build your own 1 or 2 page report summaries. And this is after all the plan building work you've already done. In this case, no one is winning. Either the client doesn't get the information they care about, or the advisor is wasting valuable time and resources building customized short reports. We are going to show you a better way. Today's session is about transformation. It's about providing a forward thinking, mind blowing planning experience to your clients while still saving time. Advisors already using Snap are telling us that this is now so fast, they are able to create a snapshot between client meetings. They are also saying that their busy, high net worth clients are absolutely loving the one pager because they are simply too busy for anything more. Advisors are saying that because of snapshots, they are saving at least 45 minutes to an hour every single client meeting because they no longer have to build a customized report after the projections have been created. This problem hasn't been solved previously because of the sheer challenge that comes with building something that is both customizable and time saving. What matters most to each client is totally unique, so a cookie cutter solution will never be adequate. When I hand this over to Steve, he will show you how the automated dynamic templates that use plan variables work. So these are the 3 most common use cases for the snapshot report. You can create a standalone client deliverable, meaning the snapshot becomes the client facing report. You can use it as a template for your annual or quarterly reviews, or you can use it to create an executive summary to the full comprehensive report. Steve is going to show you the end product for all 3 use cases, and then you will get to see scenario 1 from end to end, which is building the plan from scratch, plus creating the snapshot as a standalone client deliverable, all in less than 15 minutes. When you're deciding which option will make the most sense and provide the best client experience, there are 3 questions you can ask yourself for some direction. First, what questions am I trying to answer for my client? What do they want to know? Next, How detail oriented is this client? How much information will they be able to digest? Lastly, how complex is this case? So I'll get Steve to take over now and log into Snap.
Terrific. Thanks, Alex. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Snap Projections is a web-based platform, which means that you can access your account from any Chrome browser on any computer without the need for a download. You'll go to snapprojections.com, and then in the top right corner, you'll click Login to enter your username, password, and the option for multi-factor authentication. I've done that during today's session, so I'll click Login and go directly into the software. Now, before I show you how to create a report in Snap, I wanted to show a few examples of what the final deliverable can look like. The first use case that Alex mentioned is a scenario where we provide a client with a one-page report. So this is an example for Michelle Evans, and we'll be showing the full data input all the way to report creation process for this plan specifically in just a few moments. We have a summary of the client's goals, the assumptions underlying the plan, a high-level overview of their assets, net worth, liabilities, and then their income throughout retirement. We can also show them a clear, digestible figure of whether they're on or off track and how much they're over or underfunded. We pair that with tailored recommendations that show them what they can do with that surplus, as well as custom text in order to congratulate them along the way and provide them with next steps. The second use case is for an annual or quarterly review. Here we're including all 10 summary tiles in a 2-page report to provide a bit more information to our client, Will Porter. Will is currently retired and is going through the decumulation process with us, looking for a bit more information on his financial assets and where he should be pulling money on an annual basis. We can also provide him with his net worth statement and his estate summary so that he gets a sense of how that's progressing over time. By creating this template, you're able to quickly update the plan on a quarterly or annual basis, and all of these numbers will update and be provided in a consistent format that Will can refer back to and become quite familiar with. The last example is for a more detail-oriented and complex plan for our client, Lisa. In this case, we've included the one-page summary as an executive summary at the start of a larger report. By doing this, we can provide the client with an overview and a lot of detail in terms of the context of the plan so they can see what the assumptions are, what the overall status is over time, so that as they go through the remainder of the projection and dig into the detail, they have the context and they know what they're looking at. So let's jump into Snap and show you how you can go from data input to report in less than 15 minutes. We're going to click Add New Client, and we'll start inputting the information for Michelle Evans. She was born 1974 and currently lives in British Columbia. In the top left corner of the software, you'll see that we have 3 sections to the tool. There's the scenario setup, which we'll proceed through shortly, where we enter in the general plan details, our client's expenses, incomes, assets, and so on. Once we're done with all of that input, we can then proceed to the planning pages, where all of that information comes together to show us Michelle's life on one page. From here, we can customize values on an annual basis or for any period of the plan. Once we're comfortable with all of the numbers, we can then click Client Report and create a one-page or larger report as desired. I'll continue on with the general settings, click Next. We're going to start the plan as of 2024 with a target retirement age of 60 and a projection length until age 97. I have my preferred inflation and rate of return values pre-saved, so that's going to apply as my base assumptions throughout the plan. I'll click Next and go to Expenses. The first input that I'm going to set is the client's overall lifestyle spending need each year of the plan starting at retirement. So here we want $4,000 a month, net of taxes, inflation adjusted each year of retirement. I'm also going to add an expense for additional travel in the amount of $10,000, inflation adjusted, starting at age 60, running until age 74. And I'm going to highlight that in the charts so that we can make sure that it's clear that that additional goal is fully funded. I'll click Next and go to the Incomes page where we can enter in Michelle's current salary of $110,000. We can choose what indexing rate we want to apply, if any, and I can link that directly to the general inflation. We're entering that as employment income, so that CPP and EI will be deducted. It's going to be taxed appropriately, and the RSP room will be tracked. We're going to start it in the first year and run that right until the client retires. We can also enter in her defined benefit pension plan, which is going to start at age 60 for $35,000 a year. And then once the bridge benefit drops off, she expects $28,000 a year from that point forward. I'll click next and go to assets. You'll see there's a default account added so that there's a location that Snap can deposit surpluses to in the future if needed. Just going to delete that here and add in Michelle's existing non-reg and other account balances. So she has a non-reg with $50,000. That's currently 100% in cash. She also has a TFSA for 110,000. And that's invested as 30% fixed income and 70% equity. She also has an RSP with 325,000 invested similarly to the TFSA. Now that we've entered in her accounts, we can also click on any of the registered account tiles across the top so that we can customize additional settings as needed. And this is a common theme throughout Snap, where you can create a quick and simple projection with base default conservative assumptions, or you can go into those settings pages and refine the assumptions in order to tailor the plan to your client's unique circumstances. So I'm going to leave the contribution carry forward room as 7,000. Same for RSP, we're just going to go with the default simplified assumption. I'll go back to the assets table and scroll down to the real assets section to input her home. And this has a current value of 750,000, original cost of 450,000. We can set the appreciation rate as desired, and then we can also enter in future purchase age or sale age. So if you want to model downsizing, purchasing or selling an investment property or cottage, you can do that here and then indicate whether there's capital gains applicable to the transaction. Clicking next, we'll go to debts and enter in her mortgage balance of 145,000 with an interest rate of 5% and monthly payments of $1,600. We can link this debt to the home so that if we sell the property at any time prior to the mortgage being paid off, Snap will automatically pay that off in the same year. Clicking next, we'll go to the government benefits page where we can customize the desired start age for CPP and OAS. And we can also enter in either an expected dollar amount or a percentage of maximum based off of the information that we have available. So I'm going to assume 75% of the maximum. And for old age security, we'll go with 65 and 100% of the benefit. And just like that, in about 5 minutes, we've been able to input all of Michelle's scenario setup inputs. You'll see on the left that we do have additional pages available. We could add life insurance policies. We could conduct life needs analysis to see if more insurance might be required. We can add RESPs and customize additional settings as needed. We can also add corporations to the plan. But for now, we're going to click planning pages and see how all of the information that we input can come together to show Michelle's life on one page. Now, when you interact with the planning page for the first time, it can be overwhelming. But once you know what you're looking at, it's incredibly intuitive and a very powerful section of the software. On the left, we have the year and our client's age. We then have the calculated cash flow that the client has available for items outside of the current projection. So this 62,000 is calculated by taking the employment income of 110, subtracting off CPP and EI deductions, subtracting off taxes, and then subtracting the mortgage payments. We have other key information on this page, such as the taxable income, marginal and effective tax rates. We can see all of the details of the financial assets that we've input, including the value, any contributions or withdrawals, the rate of return. And all of these blue and purple values throughout the planning page are fully customizable. So we can change those on a one-off basis or for any period of the plan. We also have the home and net worth and estate information. I'm going to make one final input to the projection, and then we can review whether Michelle is on track or not. For the RSP, I'm going to click on the contribution and input $6,000 a year, copying that down and indexing for inflation. I'm also going to click on TFSA and enter a $7,000 contribution, continuing down until the last year of work. In order to apply these changes to the plan and update all of the numbers, I will come up to the top right and click Run Scenario to recalculate the projection. Now that we're done entering in the contributions, you'll see that the cash flow calculated by Snap has been updated to 51,000. So this is factoring in all of the inputs that we have in the plan and indicating that Michelle has 51,000 left over for items outside of the projection. This calculation continues until retirement, at which point our target spending goal of 48,000 kicks in. It's been inflation adjusted, and we've also added in that travel budget of $10,000 a year. We're funding that through the pension of 35,000, plus Snap is automatically withdrawing from the financial assets in order to fill the gap. Snap does this in an efficient manner in order to prolong the client's assets throughout the projection. And you do have the ability to customize the withdrawal order or to change any of the withdrawal values as desired in the plan. So you can fully tailor this to your preferred strategy based off of your client's circumstances. As we continue down in retirement, we'll see the withdrawals continue. We then switch over to the RIF. And by the end of the plan, we have about $500,000 remaining in the financial assets. We also have the house still fully owned, and we've been able to spend that $48,000 a year, adjusted for inflation, all the way until age 97. We can also review this in the form of charts by clicking Charts in the top right corner. For instance, we have the cash outflow chart that shows where the client's money is going each year of the plan. We have additional travel, income taxes, debt, and financial assets. We have other charts that can help you to have any specific conversation that you're looking to facilitate. We also have the recommendations tool, which can help us to understand what options the client has available for their overfunded status. So right now we can see that there's surplus financial assets at the end of the 97 at age 97, and that they're about 10% overfunded for their spending needs. So we could calculate the retirement age, how much earlier they might be able to retire. So here we've seen that they could retire at 59 while still being on track for their target spending goal. Or we can calculate the sustainable spending to see how much more they might be able to increase their annual value. So here we have about $3,000 more per year. If we go back to the planning page, we can then review any of the remaining information. And now we're done entering in our scenario setup and planning page details. We're now ready to proceed to the client report and select what charts, tables, and commentary we want to include in a 1 or 2 page report or in a full customizable report. I'll go to Report Builder, which is going to allow me to select what pages I want to include and in what order. So you'll see by default, I have access to all of the pages available from Snap to provide as much or as little detail as I feel is necessary. If I want to focus on the snapshot and the 1-page report, I'll click on Snapshots Only, and that's going to gray out all of the other pages so that they're not included in the analysis. Coming to the snapshots, I have the option to select from 10 summaries. If I include all 10, that would create the 2-page report that we saw at the very start that was used for the annual or quarterly review update. If we want to get that down to a single page, we'd need to select our preferred 6 summaries. So I'm going to go through the list and figure out which ones are most relevant for Michelle's case. I'm going to get rid of financial assets, the net worth summary, and I can do that by either clicking and deleting or dragging the page out of the included pages section. Now that I have my desired 6 tiles, I can also reorder any of the pages in order to customize how the story gets told on this 1-page report. I'll click Save, and that's going to keep my 6 pages. Now I'll go to Planning Pages in order to, go to the report editor in order to see the pages and customize the information included on each one. So we have the goal summary. From here, we have the client's name, their age, retirement age. And the most important thing that I want to emphasize with these tiles is that these are dynamic template variables. So rather than typing in the client's name or their retirement age or their retirement date, we are entering in the variable itself rather than a value. And what that does is anytime that we update this plan, so if we do a quarterly review or an annual review and we change the assumptions that we had in the scenario setup or planning pages, these reports get updated in real time. So you don't have to come in here and tinker with the numbers and make sure that everything's up to date, because they're all referencing actual variables from the plan rather than typing in that information. And not only can this be applied to this current client, but once you save your template and you set up the pages how you want, you can use those variables for all future client scenarios. So once you're done inputting the scenario setup and planning pages, you'll have customized, tailored plans ready to go. You can also delete any of the information that you see here, or you can add additional information. So I could enter in the client's additional travel budget, starting at age, and then instead of entering in the retirement age, I'm going to come to the right here and actually click on the variable itself. And then I can do the same for the retirement year. Then if I wanted, I could save this as the settings for new scenarios with new clients. So anytime that you make a change, you can decide whether you want that to be your default template or whether you want to keep the existing settings that you have. Clicking next, we can go to the assumption summary and see very similar functionality available. So you have the key assumptions using those dynamic template variables. We also have access to some of the charts that we've seen throughout today's demonstration. We have the goal status, which shows the 110% funding, as well as the recommended values that were calculated earlier. And then within the recommendation summary, we can enter in any additional text that we want to include. And now that we're done with our report editor, we can go to report preview and see the results of our work. So we have the client's name, our firm or advisor information, our customizable logo, and then we have those 6 tiles in a nice digestible manner. The goal summary, assumptions, digestible charts, and then the very impactful goal status showing that she is on track for her desired retirement. We can generate the PDF and share that with the client or within our team. Now we've focused today on the report creation process, but along the way, you can also add a lot of other functionality. We have corporations, you can complete stress tested scenarios using historical or randomized variables. And we've recently added the ability to incorporate the new capital gains inclusion rate changes. So if you want to see how that might impact your client's plans, you can model a separate projection with those new assumptions applied. If you have any questions once you sign up for your free trial, you can go to Help in the top right corner and then click on Help Center. This is where you'll have access to all of our webinar recordings and our help articles where you can search for key terms in order to find articles, videos, and recordings. You can give our support team a call or send us an email and we'll be happy to help on a one-on-one basis, either by doing screen sharing or by talking through on the phone. And we can help with individual specific client files. If you're ready to get started, you'll go to snapprojections.com. At the top of the page, we have a pricing option, and that's where you can learn more about Advisor Professional and Advisor Business subscriptions that can be paid monthly or annual. And you can make changes once you've signed up, so there's no issue. Get started, and then we'll make sure to help you get into the best plan for your needs. We really appreciate you guys joining us today, and we look forward to answering all of your questions.